day, viewers at home. I want to welcome you to Legacy Channels. This is a place where we discuss service to God. We've looked at various aspects of serving God. Specifically in this episode, we are going to be looking at joy in service. I want to believe that as you go along with us in this discussion, you are going to gain a lot and you are going to profit by it. I am the one anchoring the discussion today, and I am Ibijoke Oluwoshoyo. With me is a seasoned man of God, Reverend Oluwagbemiga Oluwoshoyo. You're welcome, sir.
Thanks so much.
Now, we've looked at various aspects of joy in service. People are always talking negatively about me behind my back. I hear a lot of comments, negative comments about what I do. Even leaders in the church are critical about me. Is this right? And what can I do about it?
People talking about you. Well, that's not unusual actually. It's a foolish thing to walk in front and expect people at the back not to talk about you. As long as they see you ahead, they definitely must talk about you. So for people to talk about me, talk about a leader, talk about somebody who is serving God, that's absolutely normal. If they don't talk about you, then that means you are probably not doing anything. Okay, so people should talk about you. Now, I think the problem is when they talk negatively about you, when they say things that you find quite, unbecoming, things you don't want to hear. You don't like people saying those kind of things about you. Now, that's it. That could be a benefit, because they are showing you areas of your life where you need to work upon. If you don't want people to talk about you, you are likely saying, one of the things you are doing is you are stopping people from showing you where you're making mistakes. People should talk about you. When they talk about you, then you see areas where you have done things wrong, where you need to adjust in your life. Humility, part of humility is to allow people to point at the errors in our life. So that's the first thing I like to say about that.
Okay.
But having said that, it's also sometimes people also say some things that are not true about you. They say things, they make comments and say all kinds of things. But you see, one of the things you have to discover about human beings is that they tell a lot of lies. So the moment you know that it's lie there, you don't bother your head. For instance, look at the story of David. David slew Goliath and came back from the war. And the women began to celebrate him. And they said, David has slain 10,000 and Saul slew 1,000. And it was not an issue to David actually, because they were saying good things about him.
Yeah.
So most times when people talk good about us, we don't have problem about that.
No, we don't.
Even if they elevate you to the position of God, you don't really mind because they are saying good things, things that you like to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's good when people say bad things about us, even though we know that sometimes they are telling lies. I feel that it's like God is using them to pull you back from capsizing, from going too fast.
Too far.
Yes, going too far. Sometimes when you're doing very well, your ego gets pumped up.
Yeah.
Your pride, you begin to get proud and arrogant and all of that. So when people say bad things about you, it helps you to remember that you are human after all. So it's not right for you to talk at your back. It's not good. That's what they call slander. But it could be a good thing also, because all things work together for good to us that love God. That's my point.
Yeah, but the issue there is, how do I keep joy in my service with all the negative comments, the negative attitudes? How do I still keep joy there?
In the last episode, I remember, in one of the last episodes, I remember making a comment that our joy should not be circumstantial. when we talk about joy, joy is different from happiness. Happiness is an offshoot of events. Oh, I made some money today, so I'm happy. Oh, I just got a jackpot. I just got a jackpot or whatever you call it. You celebrate. That's happiness.
Yeah.
But joy, when you talk about joy, joy is deeper than that. It comes it comes from the deep part of your heart. It's not influenced by circumstances. It comes from knowledge of who you are.
Okay.
Joy should be based upon the knowledge of the relationship between you and God. If you remember, Jesus Christ sent out his disciples on evangelism, and the Bible said the 70 of them returned back to him. When they came back, they began to celebrate. They told him, even the demons bowed to us. Even, we bound them, and they answered, and this and that. And Jesus said, yes, good. I saw the devil fell down from heaven. But that's not what you should celebrate. Celebrate in the fact that your names are written in heaven.
Yeah.
Which means that your joy should center upon your relationship with God, not upon events. Sometimes you lay hands on the sick, they will recover. Some other time they will not recover. That should not hinder your joy. Your joy should be based upon the relationship you have with God.
Does that mean that when I don't have joy, there's something wrong with my relationship with God?
Not exactly. Yeah, there's something wrong, but most often there's something wrong with your perception of your relationship.
Okay.
Because you're focusing your attention on physical things.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we lose our joy is because we shifted attention from our relationship to other things like provision. Oh, I need this, it has not come. Oh, I need money, I don't have. Oh, I ought to have children, they have not come. Oh, I need to have this, and it has not come. Oh, that person, look at what happened for him, it has not happened to me. Oh, something bad happened to me. No, our joy should rest upon the relationship with God. That's the reason why you see a child of God, even in time of crisis. He just buried his son, he just buried his wife, he just buried her husband, and yet she has joy. Why? Because the joy is centered upon the relationship you have with God, which is unchanging unless you walk away from God.
Now, I have actually been struggling to keep joy in my service. Why is it now so important to have joy in serving God? We have talked so much about joy. Why is it so important that there should be joy in my service?
Yeah, actually, God is not a slave master. He is not happy when people serve him without joy. He himself is joy. He wants you to be happy. He wants joy in your heart when you serve him. He spoke about the Israelites. He said, because they serve not the Lord their God with joyfulness. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 28, 47. He said God would hand them over to their enemies because there's no joy in their service. Joy is important to God because he wants, he likes relationship with you. He likes to be your friend. He likes you to be with him. He likes to walk with you. But you see, he's not a slave driver. He's not compelling you. He wants you to be happy to walk with him. And that's why he will do so many things to make you happy as you walk with him. So that joy is very important as you walk with God. But that joy is centered upon your relationship with him. That's what I've been trying to say.
Thank you. Now, we've been talking about joy in service. But just give us a minute, we'll be right back. You're welcome back. Now, I've served the pastor for over 5 years. Is it right for me to resign, or would I serve him forever?
Oh, don't serve him. Don't even serve him at all.
So
You don't even need to resign. What are you to resign him from? You are not serving the man. I've never used that word, serving a man. It's too small for me to serve. Why would I serve a man? It's just an ordinary man. You serve God through the man. You are serving God, but you are with the man. Alright? So if you have a correct perception that it is God you are serving, but the recipient of the service is a particular pastor. Okay? And it then depends on whatever assignment God wants you to perform with that man of God. If you as a man of God, or a pastor, a bishop, a prophet, or whatever, if you assume that people are serving you because they labor with you, then you have a problem. Who are you? Why would they serve you? It is God they are serving. So if we have that correct perception, it will help our service. It is God we are serving. We are His workmanship. All right? We are, as a matter of fact, we are not just serving Him, we are serving with Him. God is doing a work, and we are joining Him to do His work. So when we have that perception right, you understand that number one, God is the one doing this work. All right? A man of God has a shoe that is dirty, and God wants to shine it. And it's in the process of shining that shoe, then I join with him, and he used my hand to shine the shoe of his servant. So I see myself as co-working, as walking along with God, as a co-laborer. So if I'm sweeping the church, God wants his house clean. He is doing it. I'm joining with him. So as I'm doing it, I'm even talking to God. I'm excited because I'm walking along with God. If I go out on evangelism, I'm going with God. He's the one doing the work. I'm only joining with him. It's a great privilege to be a part of what God is doing. Now, if you have that disposition, it will help your service. There is no way anybody can rubbish what you are doing, because you know that it is not a man that you are laboring for. So I will tell that person, no, don't serve that man of God. You can't serve him. What is he going to pay you? Serve his God. Serve your own God. But be with the servant of God whom he wants you to be with. You don't need to resign from that. So, but sometimes God may give you another assignment. You have been laboring with a man of God for some time, and God says, okay, maybe because you have been faithful in that which is little, he wants to give you something bigger. You go ahead to do it. But if he doesn't ask you to go and do a new work, that does not mean that he's not promoting you. You just keep on doing it, the same work you're doing, but in heaven, the ladder is rising, the promotion lines going up and up and up of what you're doing for him. That's my disposition.
Well, let me just chip in this. Along that line, service is often done with some other people. You just said it that I should join with the man of God to serve God. And because I'm doing service with other people, their performance could even destroy the assignment, though you are even doing your best. Joy in such situations could become quite impossible or difficult. Don't you agree with me?
I disagree with you. I disagree. But I agree to the extent that the error of the other person can be afflicting. It can afflict you, it can make you unhappy, all right, but it should not take your joy away. What do I mean by that? Sometimes, like I said, you join with God to serve with a man of God or something of that nature. You are laboring with a particular pastor. You are under him. If that pastor went and messed up in immorality and some other stuff like that, that may afflict the work you are doing. That is physically. But it does not affect your own relationship with God. You are not the one who committed adultery. Alright? You are not the one who messed up. So your relationship with God is intact if you keep it intact. Oftentimes what happens is that because somebody has misbehaved, we also take off and misbehave.
Hmm.
And two wrongs never make a right. Right? The fact that somebody messed up, is dirty, God may still want you to stay there and clean him up.
Hmm.
So you just go ahead and do your work. You pay attention to God. I found myself in a situation like that sometimes ago, where a leader did something that we didn't expect he should do. And all my friends were, other people were voting out. They said they don't want to. I took time to ask God questions. God said, what's your business about that? I wanted you there. I called you. I sent you there. Do your work. So we need to just stay with God. Service unto God is staying with him. If he wants you here, stay there. If he wants you to move, move.
Now, but in a situation where I belong to a church where people talk a lot, they talk a lot. When you put on a new dress, they'll talk. When you give a testimony, they talk about everything. And I believe that God actually wants me in that church. Please advise me, what can I do?
Ignore them. There's one statement we have. People say, let them say. Let them say what they want to say. People, when God made the mouth, he made it to talk. So if people talk, that's their duty. They are performing a legitimate right, a legitimate duty is freedom of speech. They can talk, they can say what they want to say. It is you who should block your ears to what you don't want to hear. I read about David when he was about to confront Goliath. The Bible said he got to the field and he gave the food to his brothers, and after that he had Goliath bragging, and everybody was running away from him, from Goliath. And David asked, who is this one? And he told him who he was. And he said, and they continued the story and said, this is what the king is going to do for whoever killed this man. And while David was asking that question, his elder brother began to say some negative things to David. What did David do? He walked away from him and went to some other people. When you see people who are saying negative things about you, if you have a destination that you are going, you ignore them and go to other people who will listen to you. And that's not in service to God alone. In every issue of life, if you are going to succeed in life, you must learn to ignore loud talkers, people, whether they are talking loud or silent. Anyone who will say negative things about what you are doing, you ignore them and you go on your way. So people, if somebody will be talking about testimony, you make a testimony, they make jest. You wear a cloth, they talk about it. You ignore people like that. They are too trivial for you to pay attention to.
Too trivial
to
pay attention to. Now, in serving God, there are times when one or two things happen and I have to be punished. And I really hate being punished.
Everybody does.
But the other thing is that happens from time to time. How can I still serve God in joy when I'm being punished? It's like telling a child that is beaten not to cry.
No. It's not that you should not cry. Anyone who says you should not cry is a bad leader. Crying is a good thing. It develops your lungs. Okay. So when you are being disciplined in leadership, it's a very good thing. When you understand the beauty, the end result of it, you will celebrate discipline. And most times the problem we have is that we look at who is disciplining us. We measure them. Who is he to discipline me? Sometimes the person who is measuring discipline to you may even be younger than you in age. Sometimes it might be about your age mate, depending on many circumstances. All right, so you look at him. How can he be telling me what to do? How can he be punishing me? I'm too big for that. But that's not the situation. When discipline comes up, I believe that we will be able to talk more about discipline in some other episode, because this time is too short for it. But you see, when you view discipline properly and you understand that God is the one that disciplines, is the one that is using the other person to discipline you, and is using it to prepare you for a glory ahead of you, you will celebrate discipline. Show me any flower that was not trimmed, and you see an overgrown bush. If you want beauty, then there must be trimming. And that trimming is what they call discipline. It happens everywhere. The one that beareth fruit, the Lord will prune it so that will bear more fruit.
Fruits.
That pruning that the Bible spoke about there is discipline.
Yeah.
Cutting the excesses, removing things that are not supposed to be there. In leadership, I've discovered that you need it over and over again.
This is how far we can go. I wish we had more time. We've talked about joy in service, and I want you to understand that joy in your service is very important. Without joy, your service cannot be acceptable to God. Thank you for coming to this episode. We've had a nice time with you.
Thank you.
Viewers at home, I trust that you have enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much. Till we meet next time on Legacy Channels. God bless.